Hello my friends, welcome back to Bookmas. I am healthy. Yay! I can finally sing Defying Gravity again, I'm not coughing every 2 seconds, and I generally feel good. Although I have been very unmotivated. My sleeping schedule is not quite back, so I've been very unmotivated, not filming the Bookmas videos I planned to film. My calendar just keeps getting pushed back farther and farther, but today I woke up unmotivated, but then I had breakfast and I started feeling motivated, so I was like, I'm gonna film 3 videos today. So you might see me looking like this a couple of times on this channel. Today I'm very excited to do the end of the year book freakout tag, or just the end of the year book tag, but it's just a lot of different things. I kind of compiled a couple of different end of the year book tags and also added some of my own questions in there to kind of give you a rundown of my year in books, my opinions of the books that I've read this year. And also towards the end of this video, I will go into some of the book goals that I have for 2025 so that we can, you know, figure out what our plans are together. But I'm just gonna get right into it because I've got a lot of questions and I don't know how much I'm gonna rant about each thing. And also I just told you I wanna film 2 more videos today. So let's do it. Are there any books you started this year that you still need to finish? And if you've been watching my vlogs and my sit-down videos, you would know that yes, there is a book that I still need to finish this year, and that is A Court of Silver Flames. I would be lying to you if I said I didn't try to do that this month for all of you. I originally planned on having 12 days of Bookmas, not back to back, but just throughout December, and last week, actually, I planned on filming a whole reading vlog of finishing A Court of Silver Flames. There's probably still footage on my camera from that vlog, and I got busy and I read like 100 pages. No, I did not finish it. I could not post that reading vlog because I did not finish it. I still have a couple of other books that I'm reading right now for a reading vlog that I'm working on, and so I don't really know when those are gonna be done and if I will end up having that vlog to you. I'm not making any promises, but I don't really know if I'm gonna be able to get to A Court of Silver Flames before the year's over, and I am being totally chill about that. I'll read it when I get there. I know that I started it in August, didn't read it for 3 months, but we're gonna get there when we get there, okay? Like, I'm working on it. I am really interested in the book, don't get me wrong, but I kind of stopped it when I realized that I wasn't going to be able to finish it last week, and I knew that I really wanted to do this other vlog that I have going on right now, so I just stalled. But it's fine. It is obviously something that I want to finish up in 2025 if I don't get it done by the end of the year. And I think that is perfectly okay. What was a book that disappointed you this year? And I have a couple that I want to mention. The first being The Midnight Feast. I think I talked to you guys about this. I did not like it. I listened to this book. I think I ended up giving it 1 star, I don't know. But there was no substance for me. I was lost most of the time, and it felt a little forced, to be honest. Like, there were so many twists at the end. A weird read. I didn't love it, and I would not recommend it. And that's about all I can tell you about that. One book that I read recently that disappointed me, that you guys have already heard my thoughts on, is How My Neighbor Stole Christmas. This was a Grinch retelling by Megan Quinn, and I did not like it. An interesting read, that's for sure. I already talked to you guys about a lot of those points in my sick day vlog, which I'll put a card to, and it was lost on me. It was too spicy, it was over the top cliche for me, and I didn't feel the chemistry between our main characters, so that was like a 2 out of 5 star for me, and I didn't like it. What was a book that surprised you? I'm gonna say The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This was my first Riley Sager read, and another situation similar to The Midnight Feast where I had seen a lot of bad reviews for that book. And I even had some people that I know personally who read it and like recommended I don't read it. but I ended up liking it. I don't know, like, I can see where people were coming from, I guess. I feel like a lot of thrillers kind of take on the same tropes as romance books in a way, just not the same tropes, just different tropes. But anyways, I feel like every thriller book starts to feel the same after a while, and that one was just different, and I liked the twist that was in it. I liked the characters that were in it. I think that it was pretty good. So that ended up getting 4 out of 5 stars, which is very good in my book, like it's reread material. So I think that that was the book that surprised me the most, because going into it I was just so wishy-washy on if I was going to actually enjoy it or not based on the feedback that I had received. We're gonna talk about my top books of 2024. I tried to keep these just limited, okay? I had a decent amount of 5-star reads. I don't remember how many exactly, so I'll put a number on the screen, but I tried to just pick out the ones that I feel like stuck with me most. As soon as I finished reading it, I was like, I never get to read that for the first time again. I never get to read that for the first time again. And that broke me. First off, probably no surprise to you, especially if you know me, A Court of Mist and Fury. Oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. A Court of Mist and Fury, hands down the best book I read this year. Hands down, hands down. If I could recommend a book to anybody, it is A Court of Mist and Fury. I know that you have to read A Court of Thorns and Roses first, which also received 5 stars, I think. Maybe 4 once I read A Court of Mist and Fury, but just get through it. Just read A Court of Thorns and Roses, and if you're confused and you're like, meh, just read the second one. Just read A Court of Mist and Fury. Just do it. Just do it. To be honest, I feel like A Court of Mist and Fury literally changed my path of being a reader. Like, I went into 2024 wanting to read more. I went into 2024 not knowing I was going to make book content. Originally I was just gonna make writing content because I want to write a book one day, and I was just gonna put all my thoughts out there as a writer. But then I was like, you know what? I need to read a lot more before I get really focused on writing a book. So I started reading more, and I started with Twilight. I stopped at New Moon, and I went in a book slump, and then I was like, you know what? Everybody's talking about A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm just gonna read it. And I listened to the first book, and I was like, that was okay. And then I sat down and I read A Court of Mist and Fury, and I said, I get it. So A Court of Mist and Fury was my top book of 2024, but some other honorable mentions that are very close to that, not in any particular order. I definitely say A Court of Mist and Fury is the best book that I read this year, but 3 others that I really, really enjoyed towards the same level as A Court of Mist and Fury are The X-Vows. It was definitely my favorite romance book that I read this year. Very close to Funny Story. I didn't put Funny Story on this top 4 because I was kind of just going for a few different genres. I've talked about how I love characters with history. Oh my gosh. The X-Vows, top romance book I read this year, definitely recommend. Belladonna, I can't stop talking about Belladonna, and this is a YA fantasy, and I was not expecting to be into YA fantasy, but I am obsessed with it, and I can't wait to read the rest of that series because I loved it so much. It was so good. It's a little spookier of a fantasy, a romantasy almost, but YA, so if you like things that are a little spookier, a little more macabre, you should definitely go for that. And the last book that I have in my top reads of this year is a memoir, and that is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I watched iCarly growing up all the time, and of course had heard great things about this memoir since it came out, basically. And you know, if I was gonna get into reading this year, I was like, okay, well, I gotta read that. That read was closely followed by the memoir by Tom Felton, because I really enjoyed that as well. I don't know, Jeanette McCurdy's memoir was just on a different level. So if you have not read a memoir, you wanna get into memoirs, you definitely need to listen to that. Or read it. I listened to it. I thought the audiobook was really good. I really like listening to audiobooks of memoirs for some reason. how many pages did I read this year? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not come prepared. So I'm gonna put a graphic on screen that says how many pages I read this year. Is it impressive? I hope it's impressive. My top authors of 2024, I was just kind of going based on the ones that I read the most books from, but also, you know, I really enjoyed reading their works as well. So that would be Sarah J. Maas, of course. I read the most books from her because I read almost the entire ACOTAR series, plus the first Throne of Glass book. Christina Lauren, I read 2 books from this year, and my favorite of those was The Paradise Problem. And Riley Sager, I read 2 books from as well, which obviously The House Across the Lake and Middle of the Night, which I liked Middle of the Night a little bit more than The House Across the Lake, which I talked about. So all 3 of those authors, definitely interested in reading more from. But as far as some other authors that I just read like 1 book from this year that I want to read more from, Adeline Grace, of course, for Belladonna series, and Emily Henry, I read Funny Story. I actually did read 2 books from Emily Henry. I read Funny Story and Book Lovers, which I loved both of those, and I want to read more of hers next year. I just finished my first Ali Hazelwood book, which was The Love Hypothesis, and I loved that. I loved her writing so much, so I want to read more Ali Hazelwood next year. And B.K. Borison, I read Love Light Farms from. There are a lot of authors I really enjoy this year. Pretty much anybody who got a 3-star and above on my Goodreads list, I'm going to read more of in 2025. Authors you want to read more from in 2025. So I kind of answered that already, but the first 3 I'm gonna say are B.K. Borison, Ali Hazelwood, and Lila Sage. And there's a reason for that, why I want to read those 3 authors a little bit more, but I'm not going to tell you. It's a secret. I will tell you eventually, but you're just gonna have to stick around to find out why I specifically want to read more from those 3 people. Adeline Grace, Belladonna series, of course. Everybody that I mentioned before, Sarah J. Maas, Christina Lauren, Riley Sager, Emily Henry, and also Jessica Joyce, who wrote The X Vows. I think a lot of people like You with a View, so that'll probably be on my TBR at some point next year. My favorite book boyfriends of 2024? Obviously, Rhysand, best book boyfriend in the world. So that's hands down. I also really connected with Miles from Funny Story because he gave off major Nick from New Girl vibes, and Eli from The X Vows because he is, I mean, do I have to explain these? Like, if I'm saying that they are the best book boyfriends, do I need to explain it, or should you just read it? Should you just realize that that book boyfriend would take care of you? And I had some honorable mentions to Luca from Love Light Farms and Adam Carlson from The Love Hypothesis because I just recently read both of those and am obsessed with those people. Okay, the most beautiful book that I read in 2024, I had a really hard time with this because I have bought a lot of books in 2024 with beautiful covers, but to be honest with you, I didn't feel like any of them really stuck out to me as far as a beautiful cover of things that I've read. So I just kind of pulled some stuff out that I thought. I really like the design of A Novel Love Story, so that is a maybe. Maybe that's the most beautiful book cover I've read. And I feel like a lot of people also love the aesthetic of The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which I also read this year. So I like that as well. I love the contrast and the vibrant colors of A Novel Love Story, so I think that's gonna be the one that I choose as the most beautiful book cover that I've read this year. And books that I DNF'd in 2024, I honestly did not DNF a lot. There are some looking back that I wish I would have DNF'd, but I was really going for my reading goal, so I did not. There is one book, however, that I did DNF after listening to it, probably like 20% of it or something, and that was Everyone on This Train is a Suspect. I thought it sounded really intriguing going into it. I did not realize it was a sequel, and I had not listened or read the first book in that series. But then like I looked it up and everybody was like, oh, you don't have to. You can read it and you'll understand. But I didn't. I didn't understand. And I don't know if that's just a me problem, me and my brain power, or if I just didn't understand the writing because it was a little whimsical and hard for me to follow. especially when I was listening to it as an audiobook. So I DNF'd that. These last 2 questions are more about 2025. Did you reach your 2024 goals? And then we'll kind of go into my new goals for 2025. So the answer to that question is yes. I did reach my 2024 reading goal, which I set at 30 books this year, since it was my first year getting back into reading since high school, middle school basically, and I achieved it. I am surpassing it at the moment, so I feel very good about that. But if you did not reach your reading goal this year, that does not make you a failure. That's what we have to remember, because I might not reach mine next year, and I'm not a failure. Because I'm reading, like I'm doing something. So in 2025, I have officially upped that goal to 50 books. And is it a little scary? Yeah, but I think I can do it. I plan to be a little more organized in 2025, as I mentioned, with my thoughts about books and things like that. So I'm hoping that I can do it. I'm hoping I can get there. Hopefully I can minimize the amount of book slumps that I get into, because I think that's really what determines if you're gonna reach your goals or not. Because if you get in a book slump, you can't help it. And then you can't read for a while until you can get out of it. So yes, 50 books for 2025. And some of my other goals next year, which I will kind of get into in a future video about preparing for 2025. I don't know if that's gonna come out this month or next month, but eventually. I want to finish 3 series. The 3 series that I have in mind to start is Throne of Glass. Once I finish A Court of Silver Flames, I've already read the first Throne of Glass book. I want to read the rest of the series. And the Belladonna series. Once again, already read the first book. I would like to read the rest of the series, plus Holly, which is coming out in October. I want to read that as well, because that's part of the series, and also a little holiday book. So I'm excited for that. And lastly, Love Light Farms. Read the first book, but I decided I want to read them with the seasons, because each book is for a different season. So I don't know, that just excites me. That excites me. I'm gonna read them with the seasons that they're meant for. I also want to attend more author events or bookish events. There's a local bookstore I love near me who holds a lot of special events, so I'm gonna be checking out their event calendar very frequently. Might try to look into more local bookstores and see what they're doing. And yeah, I just wanna be out there more in the bookish community. And my last goal of 2025 in this realm of bookish stuff is to write more, because this all started with me saying that I was going to write a book, that I was writing a book. And to be quite honest with you, I have not been writing that book. I just kind of took a pause on it, because I had also just switched the genre about 3 times until I was like, okay, this feels good. And then I started reading more, and I was like, I feel like I need to consume a lot more media before I'm ready to fully commit to this. But I don't think that should stop me from writing, because I do enjoy writing. So I think it's fine to have all of these different ideas, all these different genres that I like writing. And even if it's just like little short stories here and there, or even if I just want to write a scene or 2 every once in a while, because let's be honest, every time I get in the shower, I'm thinking of a book scene in my head that I've just made up. I want to put all those thoughts on paper, because I feel like eventually I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna be ready to fully commit to sitting down and writing the book that I've always wanted to write, and having all of that in the palms of my hands, ready to go in case I want to build off of anything that I've already thought of, will be a great way to do it. So I'm gonna write more in 2025. Really commit to doing the things that I love, reading and writing and enjoying my life. Have you already started making reading plans for 2025? And obviously I have. I've already talked to you guys about a lot of them, but some specific things that I have on here, especially for some of the newer releases and things like that that I haven't already mentioned. I will get into right now. I actually bought the first book in the Empyrean series recently, Fourth Wing, and I want to read that in 2025. I would love to try to get both that and Iron Flame read before Onyx Storm comes out towards the end of January. I've mentioned things like wanting to read more Ali Hazelwood and B.K. Borison, other authors that I really want to read more of, the remaining Lovelight Farm series throughout the seasons, the entire Throne of Glass series, plus Foxglove and Wisteria as part of the Belladonna series, and Holly when it's released in October. Beyond that, of course I have some reading plans that I've already thought of that would go really well in sharing content with you guys, but I'm gonna keep those secrets for right now so that you have to stay around, subscribe, click that bell icon for notifications when I drop the related videos to all of my ideas. I think it's gonna be a really fun year. I know that we're not quite there yet, but it's gonna be here before you know it, and I'm really excited, and I hope you're excited too. If you wanna stick with me in 2025, bringing you all of this bookish content that I enjoy doing, and you have thoughts for me, questions, concerns, anything you'd like to talk about, please comment below. Give me a like on this video so that I know that you're here with me. I greatly enjoy it. I also have a bookish themed Discord linked in the description for all of my bookish friends to join, and I literally just adjusted it to be bookish themed, and I'm really proud of it. I can't wait. I honestly can't wait for 2025. I think it's gonna be a really good year, but I'm gonna finish out 2024 strong with my reading, enjoying everything, and I hope that you have a happy holiday season and a great rest of 2024.